everyone. I'm Shannon Kantner. Thanks for joining us. You're watching a special CMSD-TV program, Talk to the CEO, featuring District CEO Eric Gordon. We're here to have a Q&A with him about district news and updates. Thanks so much for being in the studio with us.
Great to see you. Thank you.
Absolutely. All right, well, we'll just jump right into it.
Sure.
Since we last spoke, the details of Governor John Kasich's next proposal have emerged. If the budget were to stand as is, how would it affect CMSD?
Well, there's some good news in the budget. I think the best news is that the formula is not being changed in this biennium. We have had several new formulas almost every single biennium, and the changes rarely are advantageous to urban districts, so that's really good news. We also are pleased to see that there's no decrease in funding and actually a very slight increase in funding for education, although we had hoped to see the continued increase in the per pupil expenditure each year in the next 2 years, and that's not actually in the budget right now. But overall, compared to what we might have seen, particularly in what we know the governor is forecasting as a tough economic time, a fair budget, one that we'll advocate to maybe see a little more dollars in, but really glad to see that they're not going to rethink the funding formula yet again.
Absolutely. Well, on the subject of budgeting, the district is now several years into school or student-based budgeting. First, can you just tell people what that is, how it works, how much spending is controlled at the school level, and what impact you've seen?
So school or student-based budgeting is really an equity strategy to ensure that resources follow kids based on their needs. So if you are a student with an IEP, that costs a little more than if you are a typical student that does not have an IEP. If you're an English language learner, there are expenses associated with that. If you're behind in reading, there are expenses associated with that. So we have a formula that allocates resources based on students' needs rather than giving every school the exact same amount of money independent of that. We have now moved 50% of our spending authority directly to the school level, which means our schools are in charge of literally half the budget of the district. That used to be 4%, so a really significant change. And this year we have put a lot more dollars into the budget at the school level, about $100 more per child, so that schools will have additional dollars to make decisions with. And we've seen some really interesting decisions, like investments in technology, investments in after-school programming, tutoring, Saturday schools. We saw a school purchase vans so that they could get their students to internships and externships much more easily and more economically than in the past. And so we're seeing that when schools have the opportunity to plan their own budgets, use their own resources, they're making increasingly diverse choices that are more unique to the school's needs.
That's great. Well, and given how that budgeting is going, it probably makes sense that the district is recruiting prospective principals for the 4th year and recruiting them hard as part of the Aspiring Principals Academy. Please just first talk about the importance of the academy and explain how the program and any others that you'd want to mention have groomed new leaders for CMSD.
Well, the Aspiring Principal Academy is a year-long residency where we recruit people who we think have the potential to be great CMSD school leaders, and then we invest in them for a year. The first summer, they spend in an intensive 5-day-a-week, 6-week boot camp to learn everything CMSD, and then they spend a day a week for the rest of the school year in class. And 4 days a week in our schools under some of our best school leaders. They actually take the month of February, we call it Switch Month, and go see another school leader who is maybe very different than the leader they've been with to diversify their experiences. And our first 3 cohorts have been really incredibly successful. It is a rigorous program and not everyone makes it through the program, but those that do have really done great leadership in our school buildings and are committed to staying here in Cleveland for the long term so that we don't see a lot of principal turnover. And so we're right now looking for those people who are excited to be potential school leaders in Cleveland for cohort 4. We typically have 60 or more applications for 10 to 12 seats.
Wow. I've been able to sit in on some of those courses in the boot camps. It is pretty intense, but it's awesome. It's great to see.
Just this morning interviewed 3 of the aspiring candidates for this year for school positions for next year. Wow. They really have become our go-to people for very best principal candidates. That 1 year makes a big difference.
That's great. Well, on other exciting news, training, and things the district has going on, CMSD recently celebrated the 3rd anniversary of the HEART Customer Service Training Program. Celebrate that anniversary on Valentine's Day. Very appropriate.
That's right.
Can you walk us through the history of the program, explain why it was necessary, and maybe comment on changes it's helped bring about in the district culture? I know as part of this, you also might want to talk about the new Customer Experience Center as well. A lot to cover there.
Sure. So this is a really unique partnership with the Cleveland Clinic clinic where HEART was actually developed. It is a customer experience model that says that you need to start every experience by saying who you are, telling the person what they can expect, asking if they have any questions, responding to those needs, and thanking them for the experience. That's start. And then responding with HEART when something fails to go right. So hearing the concern, being empathetic to it, apologizing for it, responding to it, and thanking the person. So it's a very simple model to understand, but has really powerful results. We started it on February 14th, Valentine's Day, 3 years ago, so we've now celebrated 3 years of our customer experience expectations in the district. We survey everywhere we can, so anyone on our website can respond on the website. At the bottom of every email is a response. If you walk into an office, you can scan a QR code or actually stop at a kiosk to respond, and we actually secret shop the district now to check these things out, both on phone calls, which we can now monitor for quality assurance, and in people that we actually bring in intentionally to go into schools or offices and ask questions and tell us about the experience. So it's really an important part of, we know that the experiences that people have with us will either convey confidence in us as a system or convey that they don't have confidence and are going to look somewhere else, and that's why it's so important for us. As part of that, and because of the size of our organization, we did just launch the Director of Customer Experience. Her role is to monitor not only the data on our HEART program, but also all elements of customer experience, the call center, the welcome center, our ombudsman service, and so on, to ensure that we are very intentional about making sure that both external customers, our families and caregivers, and internal customers, our educators who need help from district services, have a high quality customer experience.
Excellent. I'm always responding with HEART, I can assure you.
I expect that you are.
All right. Well, we've heard you comment in the past on the value of CMSD's school choice system and the right families have to select which district schools their children attend. The open enrollment deadline is March 13th, so it's approaching here. Do you want to make a call to action for families that have yet to make a selection, particularly those families who have children in 8th grade? It's a big decision.
You know, one of the benefits of going to the Cleveland schools is that there are more than 26 high school choices that every family can choose from, and because we have the opportunity to use RTA transportation, we can ensure that children can go anywhere in the city that they wish to go. But it means that our students have to take advantage of that, and we want every single 8th grader and their family to make a school choice. You can go to choosecmsd.org. That's the portal where you can make those choices. We have videos, thanks to CMSD Communications, on every single school, introducing virtually those schools. We really do need every family to make an active choice. There is nothing wrong with choosing the school right down the street if it's your choice. And so the issue for us is not that somehow you should have to go somewhere else, but that you actively decided where you want to go to school. And we know that active choosers have better academic experiences, and so what we're saying to our families, everybody needs to choose.
Nice. That was a very serious look in the camera. I hope they heard you loud and clear. Well, anything else that you want to make sure we touch on in this episode?
Well, we're heading into the end of the third quarter. The year's going fast, and our students are starting to take those all-important achievement tests. I'm very, very confident in the work our student scholars and our educators have done this year, and so I want to say right now that I have high expectations for great results of our kids.
All right, no pressure or anything.
No pressure.
All right, well, in the meantime, we all know you're very active on Twitter, so everyone can follow you at Eric Gordon CEO.
That's right.
And see all of your whereabouts around the district. And if you have a question for the CEO, you can go online to clevelandmetroschools.org/CEO questions. It's a simple form. You can remain anonymous, and your question might show up right here on the next episode. So please get online and submit those soon, and we'll make sure you can answer those next time. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
All right, we'll see you next time. And for more CMSD-TV programming like this, you can visit clevelandmetroschools.org/news. We'll see you next time.